So we stopped last time on page 421. We read line 238, so I will read on from there. This is part of what King Asvapati is replying to Narad. Over the last 2 weeks we read this, what Narad said when he sees Savitri. And then King Asvapati gives an answer. We read part of it last time. Now I will go on from there. Although in pauses of our human lives, earth keeps for man some short and perfect hours, when the inconstant tread of time can seem the eternal moment which the deathless live, yet rare that touch upon the mortal's world. Hardly a soul and body here are born in the fierce, difficult movement of the stars, whose life can keep the paradisal note, its rhythm repeat the many-toned melody, tirelessly throbbing through the rapturous air, caught in the song that sways the Apsara's limbs when she floats gleaming like a cloud of light, a wave of joy on heaven's moonstone floor. Behold this image cast by light and love, a stanza of the ardor of the gods, perfectly rhymed, a pillared ripple of gold. Her body like a brimmed pitcher of delight, shaped in a splendor of gold-colored bronze, as if to seize earth's truth of hidden bliss. Dream-made, illumined mirrors are her eyes, draped subtly in a slumberous fringe of jet, retaining heaven's reflections in their depths. Even as her body, such is she within. Heaven's lustrous mornings gloriously recur, like drops of fire upon a silver page, in her young spirit, yet untouched with tears. All beautiful things eternal seem and new to virgin wonder in her crystal soul. The unchanging blue reveals its spacious thought. Marvelous, the moon floats on through wandering skies. Earth's flowers spring up and laugh at time and death. The charmed mutations of the enchanter life race like bright children past the smiling hours. If but this joy of life could last, nor pain throw its bronze note into her rhythmed days. Behold her, singer with the prescient gaze, and let thy blessing chant that this fair child shall pour the nectar of a sorrowless life around her from her lucid heart of love. Heal with her bliss the tired breast of earth, and cast like a happy snare felicity. Will you start, Suresh?
Powerful in pauses of our human lives, yet keeps for man some short and perfect hours, when the inconstant thread of time can seem the eternal moment which the deathless live. Yet where the touch abound the mortal's world.
Let's pause there. So Asvapati is saying it does sometimes happen, these special moments in pauses of our human lives. There are all the ordinary things that are going on, but suddenly at some special moment we may feel that this thread of time, all the moments, the seconds, the minutes, the hours, the days, this is, he says, an inconstant thread of time. Constant means steady. But it's a strange thing with time. Some moments go fast and others last a long time. No, it's not steady in our experience. So he says, sometimes this inconstant thread of time can seem to us like the eternal moment which the deathless live. There's even a Latin phrase for it. It means people have known about this experience for a long time. When you experience eternity in the hours. There's a moment when everything seems to stand still and you experience some kind of eternal now or eternal moment living in the hours. So he says that may happen to us in pauses of our human lives. But the last line that Suresh read, he says, it's rare. It doesn't happen often. It only happens very rarely, very seldom in our human world, our world of time and aging and death. Is it clear?
What is that Latin phrase you were telling?
In horas aeternum, in the hours, the eternal. And Sri Aurobindo's written a poem which has this as the title, and there he describes some of those short and perfect hours which perhaps have given him that experience of the eternal in the hours. So that's what Asvapati is saying. It can happen, but it's very rare. It doesn't happen often. I've forgotten your name, dear. What is your name?
Tamarai.
Tamarai, yes. Please, will you?
Lotus.
Yes. Nice. Would you read, please? Yeah.
Early, a soul and body, hair or
Here, Abba.
here are grown in the faces, difficult movement of the stars, whose of life can keep the
Just do it syllable by syllable. It's paradisal. 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 No.
not its right
Rhythm. It's rhythm.
report, the many tone melody,
Tirelessly.
probing through the riches have caught in the song that says the Apsara's limbs when she
Floats. Gleaming.
gleaming like a girl of light, a wave of joy on heaven's moonstone floor.
That was a difficult one, huh? Yeah. Well, let's look at it again. So he says, hardly a soul and body. There are very few individuals born here in this universe, in the fierce, difficult movement of the stars. When we are born here on earth, we are part of this material universe, which is so much bigger than we are. And we look up and we see the stars. They may look very peaceful, but the scientists tell us if we look closer, there's all kinds of explosions and fierce and troubled movements going on all through our material universe that we are part of. So we live in this fierce means as if angry, violent, yeah? Difficult movement of the stars. And of course we feel that those movements of the stars are affecting our human life. So if we are born here into this fierce, difficult movement of the stars, only very few people who are born in a body, who have a soul, whose life can keep the paradisal note. Paradise is that perfect world. So from there's a kind of music that comes. We might hear it when we are small children, but in our lives it's very difficult for us to keep that music, that heavenly music, divine music. We can't repeat the rhythm of that music. The rhythms of our lives try to repeat, they try to be in harmony with that paradise music, but they can't do it, no? Very, very rarely. That music is a many-toned melody. There's not just one or two instruments playing. There are so many, infinite numbers of instruments playing that melody, which is always throbbing Throbbing is what your heart does. No? So the beat of that music goes on and on and on, tirelessly throbbing through the rapturous air. There's an air which is full of delight and bliss. That is in paradise, it is like that. And there in paradise, the apsaras are dancing. They are the heavenly dancers. So that music is caught in the song that the apsara is dancing to. Where there are apsaras, there are also the musicians, the heavenly musicians, and they are playing and singing, no? And she dances to that music. And her limbs, her body, she seems to float as she dances, like a cloud of light, that heavenly dancer. As if she's in a mist, a cloud of light. And in her movements, she's like a wave of joy as she dances on the floor of heaven. Then he says that floor looks like or is made of moonstone. Moonstone is a very beautiful gemstone that it's kind of cloudy, misty. It looks something like moonlight. So there, it's as if in paradise, the floor where the heavenly dancers dance, it's made of that moonstone. Beautiful picture. Daria, would you read?
Behold this image cast by light and love, a stanza of the order of the gods, perfectly
Rhymed.
a pure river of gold.
He's talking about Savitri. He's saying to Narad, look here, look at Savitri, behold, look at her. She's an image. She's an image which has been cast, like projected. When we have a film, we cast the images of the film onto a screen. So he's saying this image, which is Savitri's body, it's been projected from that other world. It's been projected by light and love. And he says her body is like a beautiful poem, a stanza. A stanza is the verse of a poem. So this verse of a poem speaks about the ardor, the intensity and passion of the gods. That's what she expresses in her body. And this stanza of this poem is perfectly rhymed. If we have a short poem, we will like to have some of the lines rhyming, that the sound of the words at the end of the line, it repeats like a song. So her body is like that. And then he says, a pillared ripple of gold. So a pillar is upright. And he often speaks about the golden color of Savitri's skin and of her aura also, of her atmosphere. And here he says this is a pillar, it's standing upward, up like that, but it's also like a ripple in water or a wave on the ocean. So it says an upward ripple of gold. Savitri, he's pointing out how special she is. Sergei?
The body, like a brilliant picture of the light, shaped in a splendor of gold color, goes, as if to seize Earth's truth of hidden bliss.
Yes. So this continues what he's saying. Behold, look at this body, which is like a pitcher. A pitcher is a jug. We may have a pitcher to hold milk or water. This pitcher is absolutely full to the very top, to the brim. It's full of delight. And this pitcher has been shaped. A pitcher often will have a very beautiful shape. He says this pitcher has been shaped in a splendor of gold-colored bronze. Bronze is a metal, a very strong, long-lasting metal that we can make beautiful images of. Here in South India, there are craftsmen who make wonderful images of the gods out of bronze. No? But this bronze has a lovely golden color. So it's as if this shape that Savitri is made of, or that is her body, has been made to seize, to express Earth's truth of hidden bliss. The truth of Earth is a hidden bliss. The bliss is always there, but we don't notice it because the pictures that we see are not made of gold-colored bronze, they're made out of clay, and they're sometimes very crude, and they break easily. But there's something so special and beautiful about the physical appearance of Savitri. It's as if she's communicating what is the real truth, what a human body should really be like. It should express the divine truth. Dhanalakshmi.
Dream made, illumined the mirrors or her eyes, draped subtly in a slumberous fringe of jade, retaining heaven's reflections in their depths.
Yes. So first he speaks about the body as a whole, and then he speaks about her eyes. And these eyes are full of light, but they are also mirrors. They are reflecting something. And these eyes seem to have been made of dreams. And these eyes are outlined with black. She's got lovely black eyelashes. And the ideal of Indian beauty, of the young girl, she should have these lovely, deep, luminous eyes and the black eyelashes. Like a fringe, black fringe. Jet is also a gemstone that's completely black, shiny black. And those mirrors that are Savitri's eyes are keeping in their depths the reflections from heaven, that world where she has come from. Gumsun?
Even as her body, such is she within. Heaven's lustrous mornings gloriously recur, like drops of fire upon a silver page. In her young spirit, yet untouched with tears.
Yes. So he says, look at this beautiful body, and she's just as beautiful within, in her inner being. And for her, every morning is something glorious and new, as if repeating the mornings as they are in heaven, in paradise. lustrous, they're full of light, the mornings, full of glory, brilliance. And they come one morning after another like a drop of fire upon a silver page. The image of a silver page, and here an artist drops some glorious colors. This is what is happening with each new day that comes. In her spirit, that's how she experiences it. Her spirit is full of the quality of youth. That's one of the divine qualities. No? We have the 12 gardens around Matrimandir. One of them is the garden of youth. Youthfulness is a divine quality. So her spirit is young, and of course in years she is still young, and he says her spirit hasn't been touched by tears. She has never been unhappy. She's never suffered. She's never known grief and pain. Narad had also seen that, no? When he looked at her. He said, you haven't spoken with the kings of pain. No? You are still living in this awareness of a kind of ideal world, a heavenly world. Mahalingam.
All beautiful things, eternal seen and new, to virgin wonder in the crystal soul.
So she sees everything beautiful, and they seem to her eternal, that they will always have always been there and will always be there, and at the same time they're fresh and new, because she is seeing them, her soul is seeing them with this wonder, this sense of marvel that children have, no? That they see, and everything is miraculous. It's virgin, her soul is absolutely pure and untouched by any stain. Would you like to read?
The unchanging blue reveals its spacious thought. Marvelous the moon floats on through wandering skies. Its flowers spring up and laugh at time and death. The charm mutations of the enchanted life. Race like bright children past the smiling hours.
Yes. So this is how life is for Savitri. The unchanging blue, as if the sky has no clouds, reveals its spacious thoughts. We look up into the clear blue sky. It's so wide, it's spacious, that reflects a pure mind. That sky blue color is the sky of the higher mind. And if there are no clouds in it, the thoughts are spacious, free, pure. And she sees the moon floating on. It goes on floating through these wandering skies, the night skies full of mystery, magic. She sees the flowers springing up. Actually, the flowers only last a short time, but still they seem so fresh and new, and always fresh and new. They spring up and they laugh at the passing of time, at the prospect of death. All the charmed mutations of the enchanter life. Life is like a magician or a sorceress making magic, and it is expressing itself in ever-changing forms, mutations, forms that change, shapes that change. So these are charmed mutations. They're magical, they're enchanted. And they pass quickly, like children running past the smiling hours. The hours are full of happiness. They're happy to see all these beautiful things. And Savitri is experiencing this happiness and this delight of life. Joel.
But this joy of life will last, nor pain throw his bronze note into her rhythm days.
So this is King Aswapati's wish, that this joy of Savitri can last forever. If only this joy could last. He says, but, that's a poetic way of saying it. If we use our ordinary speech, we say, oh, if only it could be like this forever. If only it could be that no pain can bring a new kind of note into this music and this rhythm of her days. It's bronze note. Bronze we had before about the metal, no? Out of this metal, one of the things we make is a big gong. And when you strike it, it gives a very powerful, deep, resonating note. So if in the music of our days that bronze note comes. Do you like to read, Mom?
Behold her seen with a chained gaze, and let thy blessing shine that this fine child shall pour the nectar of a sorrowless life. Around her for reaching heart of love. Hell with her bliss the tired breast of hope, and cast like a happy snare felicity.
So he's asking Narad to bless Savitri. He says, look at her, you, Narad, singer with the prescient gaze. Narad is known as a singer, as a musician, but he's also known as one who can see into the future. Prescient. It's connected with the word science, to know, no? Prescient, knowing beforehand. You can look and you can see the future. So he says, please chant your blessing. Sing with your voice that has the power of truth speaking. You give a blessing that this beautiful child, this beautiful young woman, Savitri, shall be able to go on pouring out the nectar of a sorrowless life. Nectar is what the bees gather from the flowers. No? It's very sweet, it's delightful, delicious. It's also what we are told, the food of the gods, what the gods drink. Because they drink only nectar, they are eternally young. So that's the suggestion here, that if there's no sorrow, if she can go on pouring out this sweetness of a life without any sorrow, spreading it around her, that sorrowless life, from her lucid heart of love, She won't just be hugging all that happiness to herself. She will be spreading it. Her heart, which is lucid, it also means clear. There's no shadow or stain there. Let it be that she, with her bliss, that she can heal the tired breast of earth. Here we are so disillusioned and we don't believe that things can be sorrowless. And we are so tired, we'd like to sleep maybe. But with her delight, she spreads her delight, that will be able to heal all the wounds, so that earth will feel fresh and young again. And he says, and let her cast like a happy snare felicity. Felicity is happiness. And a snare is a net or a trap that you make to catch something, to catch an animal. So he says, let her catch everybody in her happiness. And this happy snare, that others will be able to experience her happiness. Then we've got quite a long sentence with a long image. Leila, would you read this?
As grows the great and golden bounteous tree, flowering by Alakananda's murmuring waves, where with enamored speed the waters run, lisping and babbling to the splendor of morn, and came with lyric laughter round the knees of heaven daughters dripping magic rain, pearl bright from moon gold limbs and cloudy hair, so are her dawns like jeweled leaves of light, so casts she her felicity on them.
So he gives an image. Let's try and understand the image for Savitri and the way she is. He says she's like that special tree, that great and golden, bounteous tree. So in the Indian tradition, there's a tree, the Kalpa Vriksha, that fulfills all wishes, gives you all boons. And this tree is supposed to grow beside, on the banks of the river Alakananda, which is one of the Himalayan rivers, which flows into the Ganges. So just like that lovely tree, that great and golden, bounteous tree, somebody who's bounteous is very, very generous, always giving. That tree that's flowering by Alakananda's murmuring waves. He mentions the river and the sound that the river makes, the water of the river.
Bounty is also among which a lot of things we have.
Yes, in order to be very generous, then you have to have a lot, no? So there's no limit to what that tree can give you. It's bounteous. It has an infinite riches that it can share with you. Yes? So by that river, where the waters run with enamored speed, the waters flow very fast because they are in love. They are happily in love. The waters make this sound, lisping and babbling. These are sounds that young children make. The voice of very young children. It can be so delightful to hear very young children. They're just chattering on and on and on. And lisping is when there's a slight impediment in the voice that makes it very, very charming, very delightful. So the waters are lisping, they're making those beautiful sounds in the morning, at dawn time, the splendor of morn. And the waters are clinging around the knees of heaven's daughters, the goddesses, the apsaras, those beautiful beings from heaven. The waters are clinging around the knees of these beautiful beings with lyric laughter. Lyric is a love song, actually, and it's a song, so it's the sound that the water makes. And heaven's daughters are bathing there in the Alakananda, and so they are dripping magic rain from their limbs and their hair. Those drops of water fall like pearls from their lovely bodies, from their cloudy hair. So it's a beautiful image, the tree, waters, heaven's daughters, the beautiful early morning light, the pearly drops of water. He says, so just like that are Savitri's dawns, her early mornings, or the dawns that she brings with her. They are like jeweled leaves of light, as if the leaves of the tree perhaps are made of light. In the same way as that great and golden, bounteous tree, she too, Savitri, is casting her felicity on men. She's sharing that lovely light and music and generosity with all the people around her. Ganga Lakshmi.
The flame of radiant happiness she was born, and surely will that flame set earth's light. Doom surely will see her pass and see nowhere.
Thank you. So Savitri was born like a flame of radiant happiness, and surely the purpose is that that flame of happiness which she's carrying will set the whole earth alight, so that there are flames of happiness everywhere, no? And doom, misfortune, darkness, pain and suffering, it will watch her passing and not say anything. It will just be silent and watch her pass. That's what he wishes, that's what he hopes for. Nina.
But too often here the careless mother's leaves, her shoes in the envious hands of fate. The heart of God transmute its cold bliss, discovered its new earth's unhappy songs. The strings of the siren ecstasy cry not here, of soon a silence in the human heart.
So that's what he's wishing for Savitri, that she can continue to live this happy life and shed the light of her happiness all around her. But of course he knows that it's very difficult, no? He says, too often the careless mother, the earth mother, leaves her chosen ones, her special children. It seems as if she abandons them to the hands of fate, of destiny, even of doom. As if she's careless, or the fate is careless. The careless, it doesn't care about all the beauty and the happiness that those chosen ones can give. It's the mother who's careless, and the hands of fate are envious. People who are envious, they don't like other people to be happy. No? They say, why should they be happy? I'm not happy. Why should they be happy? So perhaps there's something like that in fate. So then the harp of God falls mute. That harp, that musical instrument which has been playing this happy song, it falls silent. It's been calling everyone to bliss. Here is bliss. But it gets discouraged, and we don't hear that music anymore. It dies away. We hear only the unhappy sounds of earth. He says, the strings of the siren ecstasy cry not here. This word siren, it refers to an old Greek story. The traveler Odysseus, Ulysses, comes when he's trying to return to his home after the Trojan War. He's been warned that he will have to pass this place where there are rocks, and on the rocks there are beautiful girls sitting and singing. But the sound of their song is such, it will enchant you so much, you won't be able to continue your journey. Your ship will be wrecked on the rocks and you will all die. So that clever Odysseus, Ulysses, he very, very much wants to hear that song. But he also wants them all to reach home safely. So he makes all his sailors put wax in their ears so that they can't hear anything. And he makes them tie him to the mast strongly with ropes like that. And he says, you mustn't, whatever I say or do, you mustn't set me free. So like that, they pass the place where the sirens are singing, and he has that ecstasy of hearing that glorious song, and he's able to survive it. Perhaps the symbolism is that if we hear that music of heaven, we will want to leave our bodies. We don't want to live here on earth anymore. So he says that sound, that song of the sirens, that wonderful sound of ecstasy, we don't hear it here on earth. Or if we do hear that music, it soon gets silenced in the human heart. It can't last very long. Rosa.
Of sorrows, some we have enough. Did one once have glad and griefless days bring heaven here?
So he says we have enough of sorrow songs, the sad songs. Please bid. If you give the command, he's saying, if you just once give the command, let her glad and griefless days bring heaven here to earth. But then he asks a question to Narad. Or must fire always tear the grate of soul? Along the dreadful causeway of the gods, armored with love and faith and sacred joy, a traveler to the Eternal's house, once let unwounded pass a mortal life. So those great of soul who have come to the earth with a mission, perhaps they always have to pass through the fire of suffering. On Sunday we were reading somewhere else in Savitri where he says that no one can reach heaven who has not passed through hell. But still he asks, please, you have the power to give the blessing. No? So please let one human life, mortal life, pass unwounded, without ever having to suffer any wound. Let her pass along the dreadful causeway of the gods. A causeway is a raised up road that links the mainland with an island, or that passes over a swampy, difficult place. No? So it means that journey to the gods, to the world of the gods, is a difficult and dangerous one. No? But let her pass over that dreadful causeway, armored with love and faith and sacred joy. Joy is such a great power. In that connection, Mother too has said that falsehood is the sorrow of the Lord, and so the cure for falsehood, or the armor against falsehood, is pure joy, divine joy. So let her travel to the Eternal's house unwounded. So this is what he's asking from Narad. That's where we'll stop today. We can continue next time. Shall we read this together, these lines from bottom of page 421? Although in pauses of our human lives, earth keeps for man some short and perfect hours, when the inconstant tread of time can seem the eternal moment which the deathless live, yet rare that touch upon the mortal's world. Hardly a soul and body here are born in the fierce, difficult movement of the stars, whose life can keep the paradisal note. Its rhythm repeat the many-toned melody, tirelessly throbbing through the rapturous air, caught in the song that sways the Apsara's limbs when she floats, gleaming like a cloud of light, a wave of joy on heaven's moonstone floor. Behold this image, cast by light and love, a stanza of the ardour of the gods, perfectly rhymed, a pillared ripple of gold. Her body, like a brimmed pitcher of delight, shaped in a splendour of gold-coloured bronze, as if to seize earth's truth of hidden bliss. Dream-made, illumined mirrors are her eyes, draped subtly in a slumbrous fringe of jet, retaining heaven's reflections in their depths. Even as her body, such is she within. Heaven's lustrous mornings gloriously recur, like drops of fire upon a silver page, in her young spirit, yet untouched with tears. All beautiful things eternal seem and new to virgin wonder in her crystal soul. The unchanging blue reveals its spacious thought. Marvelous the moon floats on through wandering skies. Earth's flowers spring up and laugh at time and death. The charmed mutations of the enchanter life race like bright children past the smiling hours. If but this joy of life could last, nor pain throw its bronze note into her rhythmed days. Behold her, singer with the prescient gaze, and let thy blessing chant that this fair child shall pour the nectar of a sorrowless life around her from her lucid heart of love. Heal with her bliss the tired breast of earth, and cast like a happy snare felicity. As grows the great and golden bounteous tree, flowering by Alakananda's murmuring waves, where with enamoured speed the waters run, lisping and babbling to the splendour of morn, and cling with lyric laughter round the knees of heaven's daughters, dripping magic rain, pearl bright, from moon gold limbs and cloudy hair. So are her dawns like jewelled leaves of light, so cast she her felicity on men. A flame of radiant happiness she was born, and surely will that flame set earth alight. Doom surely will see her pass and say no word. But too often here the careless mother leaves her chosen in the envious hands of fate. The harp of God falls mute, its call to bliss, discouraged, fails mid earth's unhappy sounds. The strings of the siren ecstasy cry not here, or soon are silenced in the human heart. Of sorrow's songs we have enough. Bid once her glad and griefless days bring heaven here. Or must fire always test the great of soul. Along the dreadful causeway of the gods, armoured with love and faith and sacred joy, a traveller to the Eternal's house, once let unwounded pass a mortal life.